Hey fellas, thought I'd come out here and give you a little update of what we got going on. We got a few more things done last night. It's been pretty hot during the day, so we haven't been out here working during the day, but I'll give you a couple shots of what we got going on, a couple things that we finished up, and give you a sneak peek at that. Alright, so over here, lower, we got the lines ran for the oil cooler. That's dash 12 AN line running from the oil cooler. We got it tucked inside, and we ran it inside this bumper support here, and we got it actually using an old radiator hose to make sure it wouldn't, rub through anywhere. And we got it, obviously one ran to the oil filter itself, and then the return from over there is ran over to the fitting on the block there, that MMR delete plate. We got it ran over there, and got that. I made that bracket. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can kind of see it in there. The L bracket right there, to mount this, so this boy ain't going nowhere. Nice and tight. And then we also got the trans in the other night. Let's see if I can get under here. Got the trans in it, all mounted up, so that's all taken care of. Got that knocked out of the way. That was a pain in the ass to do on the ground, but we got it in there. Got the cable all adjusted, so that turned out pretty good. And let's see what else we got. We got the radiator and the AC condenser installed with the fan. Ooh, excuse me. And I don't have the brackets on it yet, but there ain't a whole lot of room there, but there's enough. We're going to run 2 turbo blankets on these to hopefully keep the heat away from these fans. Don't want to start melting fans here, so we got that situated, got the turbos bolted down. The next thing we're going to do is run the turbo drains. I'm using dash 12 as well. Right on the other side, bottom side of that pulley there in the front of the oil pan, there's a dash 12 fitting that's threaded into it. So I'm going to run the dash 12 to a Y and then right into the oil pan there. And the feed, what we're doing is back over here on the oil filter housing, the remote deal. Right here you can't see, it's kind of dark, but there's a dash 4 fitting that we're going to run up and Y off to the supply on both turbos up there. So we did a bunch of test fitting with the headlight bucket in there and the front bumper. Make sure we're going to have enough room to clear these hoses, because them big ass dash 12 lines, there ain't a whole lot of room to run them in this particular setup. It's fairly snug in there, but it works, and it's not going to rub through in anything. So, and what else? Oh yeah, we got to finish. I got some dash 6 PTFE line over here hanging that we got to make up a line and run it back to the fuel cell for the return off of the regulator there. So we'll run that down with the other line and get that finished up, so the fuel system will be complete. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we did. I think that's pretty much all we did. And so I gotta get a couple fittings for the feed side, and possibly I'm gonna have to get an extension for the drain on these turbos, because where they're at now, there's not a whole lot of room to fit the line in there. I'm gonna have to get like a inch or inch and a half long extension to bring that drain down a little bit, so I can connect to it with the -12, and that's the game plan at least. So, and then we did get our 2.5 inch to 3 inch coupler for both the turbos, because that pipe coming up from the intercooler is 2.5 inch, and the outlet on the compressor cover is 3 inch. Excuse me. So we got them in, so we can get that going, and once we get that in there, it's pretty much buttoning up a bunch of odds and ends. You gotta do something with the power steering and hydro boost cooler lines, to figure something out there, get them knocked out, and then that'll be all ready to go. I'm gonna mount, I'll show you in another video, but I'm gonna mount the power steering reservoir in that fender well. What I think I'm gonna do is cut a little hole right here for the cap to come up, so the cap will be sticking through right here, so I can fill it right there and not have to dick with going into the fender well to try to fill the power steering fluid, and that way it'll be high enough to where the air will bleed out, because the feed line coming up from the pump is down lower, so we are right there. And then I got to get some type of coolant reservoir to mount. I'll probably end up putting over in this fender well to be able to fill it and bleed it out, top it off, all that kind of good stuff. So I got to get one of them coming, and probably later tonight we'll get the hoses ran for that crossover delete, which opened up a lot of room, so that worked out nice. So, and then we can get the harness put on it. I already swapped the plugs on the coils. If you're swapping from a 4/6 2 valve to a 4 valve, you gotta, if you're using your 2 valve harness, you gotta swap the connectors on the coils, because it's going to be the reverse polarity that you had on your 2 valve. So you just basically depin them and swap the pins. There's only 2 pins on each one for each coil, and you just swap the pins, and then you're all set. So yeah, that's basically where we're at. Still got a ways to go, but we're making some headway. So figured I'd give you boys an update, and once it cools down a little more tonight, I'll come out and do a little more on her and get her that much closer. But alright fellas, see you on the next one.